Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Kevin doing another segment of Feelin Proggy. I've just got some thoughts I want to give people regarding obviously a big issue that a lot of people know about. So let's just get into it. So a lot of you guys heard that Bernie Sanders obviously endorsed Joe Biden today. Definitely a depressing day. I would say it's a pretty dark day considering this was basically Bernie Sanders' last chance to really, you know, to obviously become president, and for we're going to be able to do anything ever again. But as far as having somebody that really brought the movement and the issues and the ideas to the forefront and to the mainstream, Bernie Sanders was able to do that, and Bernie Sanders did do that. Um, but there is a lot of interesting takes that are coming from people regarding the specific decision that Bernie Sanders made to endorse Biden. And so like a lot of people are getting into like this cancel culture thing, this cancel Bernie, bye Bernie thing, which is actually a neoliberal corporatist pro-Democrat anti-Bernie hashtag, or even meme in many cases. But it's a hashtag that people are using, saying "bye Bernie." Like I'm not doing that shit. So if people want to, people on the left want to push that, and then they want to essentially associate with a lot of those people that are obviously bad characters. They can go ahead and do that. I respect them. I respect those people, but I don't respect the fact that they're going to be pushing that kind of narrative. But as far as people that want to cancel Bernie, I am not on that boat, and I am not on the boat. I am not on that boat because I don't believe that can you should can you can but I mean, I don't believe that you should disassociate yourself with basically the godfather of the progressive movement. Now you can definitely say there's other people that are or were involved in the movement, and that are and were responsible for getting it off the ground. But like I said, Bernie Sanders mainstream. And ultimately, if you want to go out there and cancel Bernie, a lot of people are, they're ranting on Twitter. I saw somebody else that said refund Bernie, so they want to, they want to get their money back as far as donations they gave. I get, that's actually probably the most, in my opinion, if I want to be objective. If I want to be objective, I would say the most, I would say the most objective way of looking at the refund Bernie is the fact that it makes sense to not want to give money to Bernie Sanders, like, or I'm sorry, to want to get your money back from Bernie Sanders. I get it. That's like, because that's your money, that's your hard-earned your hard-earned cash, your paycheck, whatever, that $27 at a time, or however many times, $100 at a time, that you gave Bernie Sanders. You want to have that money back. I get it. That's a totally understandable position. Um, you want to do that, fine. But completely disassociating yourself and wanting to say, fuck Bernie, I don't want to have anything to do with him. He's whatever, an enemy, and he's a piece of shit because he's whatever, endorsing this terrible warmongering corporatist, essentially Republican with a D next to his name. I don't support that. I can't, because you have to look at the larger picture. You have to look at it on a macro scale. On a macro scale, what has Bernie Sanders done? Exactly what I said before. He mainstreamed the progressive movement. He mainstreamed Medicare for all. He mainstreamed, free college, living wage, ending the wars, all these things, all these big issues, even a Green New Deal to some extent, even though that came, initially from the Green Party and stuff. And that's something that AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, was pushing. Um, but when it comes to really putting these issues out there, this is what Bernie Sanders did. And if you just want to put him to the side and just be like, fuck him, I don't want anything to do with him anymore, then you're basically wanting to not have to do, not wanting to have anything to do with somebody that still is a very, very important figure in our movement. And honestly, this is exactly what the anti Bernie vote shaming idiots want. They want you to hate Bernie. They want you to say fuck Bernie. They don't want you to have somebody out there that is going to be a well-known figure. Of course, we can go out there and say like, okay, we're backing, I don't know, Howie Hawkins now. Howie Hawkins is he's currently the guy that's running for the Green Party. Well, he's the nominee for the Green Party, but he's running for president under the Green Party label. Okay, that's fine. But nobody knows who the fuck Howie Hawkins is. Just like nobody really knew who Jill Stein was. The only people that knew who Jill Stein were these conspiracy theories. Oh my God, she's a Russian bot because she sat at a table with Vladimir Putin that one time or whatever. And so those are the only kind of people that are going to know somebody like Jill Stein, Howie Hawkins, these Green Party types. So there is, I get supporting those people and saying, like, I'm going to vote for them. But that doesn't mean that you have to, like, right now, all of a sudden for the next however many months that we've got here, 8 months or so until the election, 7 months until the election, less than that. And, you just want to be like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with Bernie. And then I'm going to go push this other person that's running for president too. Go vote for them, fine. You can't make that person into the person that's going to be like taking over the movement within a presidential election. Roman, I don't know anybody that's going to be voting for Joe Biden. So I'm not voting for Joe Biden. They're not voting for Joe Biden. A lot of progressive hosts that I watch and know they're not voting for Joe Biden, and they get a lot of shit for it. We get a lot of shit for it. I have hashtag Never Biden in my Twitter bio, so I'm very clear about my position. But Bernie Sanders endorsing him does not make Bernie Sanders a terrible person. Bernie Sanders still believes in progressive values. He still believes in progressive ideals. He still wants to, do all the things that we champion and we love. And he's going to be somebody that will be able to pass the torch onto the next person. Now, to be fair, I don't know who that's going to be. I don't even know if I really want that to be Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. At this point, I've got some serious issues with her identity politics type issues. So I've got issues with AOC. But that's a different issue for another day. But you can't, like, canceling Bernie Sanders. That's that's going to lead to a lot of problems because it's going to make our movement less into the take it away from the mainstream. It's going to basically put us back to like the days of like before Bernie Sanders, before anybody even knew what the progressive movement was and what we still are. Thanks to Bernie Sanders. Who else did that? That's Bernie Sanders did that. He built that. And if you're just going to tell him to fuck off, you're not helping the movement. And you are entitled to your opinion. You are entitled to believe what you want to believe. But you're not helping us if you're going to be kicking Bernie Sanders to the curb. Now, if you want to do that after the election, that's a different story. That's a whole different conversation. Because after the election is after the election. He's going to be going back to the Senate. Obviously, he's still in the Senate right now. He's going to be going back there doing his own thing. But we need to make sure that a lot of his, all of his ideas that he puts out that he puts out there, those are the policies that we have to obviously advocate for, and we have to know that Bernie Sanders was the one that that championed it and spearheaded it. And I don't want to say like this is because this is not a cult thing. This is not a cult of personality. This is a cult of policy. I think I saw somebody say that on Twitter. This is about a cult of policy. The policies that I believe in are important. I don't care about who is leading the movement in general. I'm saying on a macro scale. Right now, yeah, it's important that Bernie's leading it. But on a macro scale, it doesn't really matter who's leading it. AOC, Bernie, I don't know, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, whoever you want to put out there. That's not the important. The main important thing that we have to focus on are what the policies are, and that we're not, we're not tying ourselves to some sort of, specific person, let alone a specific party, because you can always have sure that it's the policies that you care about that are being advocated for, and that those policies get into the forefront and people know what you believe. And that's not something that a lot of people, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but it seems like a lot of people in the progressive movement, they seem to be kind of a little bit too stuck to the idea of like Bernie is the whatever last one, and that's it, and it's over. And I'm not saying this, I don't think it's whatever, that's the last chance. It's over with, we can't do it anymore, and he is the main guy, and it's Bernie's movement. No, it's a progressive leftist, whatever you want to call it, socialist, democratic socialist movement. I myself consider myself a left libertarian, libertarian socialist type. That's what I believe. I'm very much along the lines with Noam Chomsky. Even though I do have issues with Noam Chomsky when it comes to um, his endorsements, because he also believes like, oh, you have to endorse, the Democratic nominee. And last time he said endorse Hillary because Trump is so bad. Now I think he believes the same thing with Biden. I wouldn't be surprised. But as far as like specific ideas, putting aside endorsements, that's why I don't care that much about endorsements. But putting aside endorsements, it's what is the policies that you advocate for? What does policies does Noam Chomsky advocate for? What does policies does Bernie Sanders advocate for? That's the important thing that you gotta focus on. It doesn't matter. In the grander scheme of things, it doesn't matter who they endorse. I couldn't care less. What the hell is the endorsement of Joe Biden by Bernie Sanders or Noam Chomsky or whatever leftist? What in the grander scheme of things, what is that going to mean in 20 years? It's not going to mean shit. It's just going to be a fucking blip on the radar. I don't care what Bernie Sanders does as far as endorsements. I care what policies he advocates for, and that's why you need to support Bernie Sanders, but also don't make him like the you know the main figurehead for the entire progressive movement until the end of time. You know, eventually he's going to move on. From the Senate, he's going to retire, whatever it is. He's not going to be around forever. So and that's why you can't make anybody a specific figurehead, or at least make them a figurehead to the point that it's like, oh, Bernie's movement or AOC's movement or whatever, Rashida Tlaib's movement. No, it's not like that. It's about the progressive movement. It's about the specific policies that we believe in, and putting out there that we are leftists, we are progressives. We're not Democrats. I don't want to be a Democrat. I'm no longer a Democrat. I'm going to leave the Democratic Party. Now, I don't necessarily believe in the whole Dem exit, hashtag Dem exit movement, because I think a lot of the Dem exit movement seems to, it seems to kind of center around the idea of like, well, I have to Dem exit so that I can, I don't know, Republican enter, whatever, however you put it, enter the Republican Party now. No, I don't want to join any party. I don't want to be part of any fucking, plutocratic corporatist party. Why would I want to become a Republican? That's ridiculous. And the whole point here is that you remain independent. You're independent of the parties. You are focused on the policies and the ideas, and that's what you push for, and that's what you focus on. I don't give a shit what the party is. I don't give a shit what the name of the party is. It can be the fucking shithole party for all I care. So the point is to just make sure that you're pushing the policies that you want and the policies that you're passionate about. The two main policies that I'm passionate about is is basically Medicare for all, so healthcare and foreign policy. I'm very, very passionate about the idea of making sure that 45,000 to I think 68,000 people are not dying every single year just from lack of decent healthcare. Just decent healthcare. And I'm talking about decent in the sense of how good it is in the UK and France and Germany and Canada and all that stuff. Because it's a hell of a lot better up there. And I wish we had something at least close to that, and we don't. So that's one issue I care about. And the other issue I care about is foreign policy. And foreign policy it's a very complicated issue. And it's something that there's a lot of nuance behind it. And you have to really get into the weeds to really understand what's going on a foreign policy standpoint, and how the United States has made it into a complete quagmire and has fucked it up for everybody. Whether you're talking about drone strikes on innocent civilians, killing little children, killing mothers, grandmas, babies, whatever. That's one thing when it comes to illegal detention. So being detained in Guantanamo Bay and various black sites all over the fucking world, and getting tortured is another issue. All these things are really, really important issues, and I really became passionate about that probably within the last, I would say, 5 to 10 years. I would say the same thing with healthcare too. I think healthcare came a little bit later. Healthcare was a little bit more of a complicated issue, and honestly, healthcare wasn't something people talked about. It wasn't talked about in the mainstream, so it's like it took a little bit longer for me to really understand the kind of the intricacies of how bad our healthcare system is, and really understanding the entire the entire landscape of how we are being screwed over by the health insurance companies and the monopolies and the big pharma and all that stuff. But when it comes to foreign policy, that's something I'm definitely much more. I understand a lot more, especially being somebody that is of Persian American or American Persian, American Iranian, however you want to put it, descent. Parents were from Iran, so obviously, and post 9/11 and stuff, you definitely, as a Iranian, you're going to definitely care about that kind of stuff a lot more than other issues. But that doesn't mean that any issue is more important than the other. Obviously, climate change, Green New Deal, that type of stuff. Ending poverty, getting a living wage. So obviously, like economic issues. Economic issues is definitely something that's really complicated. That's something I'm definitely learning a lot more about. But like I said, main issues for me specifically are healthcare and foreign policy, and those are issues that Bernie Sanders really cares about. He obviously also cares about economic issues as well. But if you listen to what Bernie Sanders was saying throughout the election, he was talking about healthcare. He was talking about the fact that people are dying from lack of healthcare, are dying from, or just going bankrupt, but let alone dying, but going bankrupt from, paying massive massive Medicare medical bills. And that's something that doesn't happen in any other country. And Bernie was really, really passionate about that. He also was very passionate about foreign policy, talking about how he didn't vote for the Iraq War and he didn't, he has voted for some foreign, wars that were a little bit of an unfortunate thing for him. He voted for, I think he supported the Syrian war. I believe he voted for the Libyan war. I'm not sure. So Bernie isn't perfect on foreign policy, but he's definitely been able to put a very big microscope on the illegality of our, foreign wars and our legal wars. And he's definitely been able to put a spotlight on that, just like he's done with healthcare. So this is why I can't say fuck Bernie. This is why I can't say bye Bernie. This is why I can't say, even to some extent, refund Bernie. I only donated to Bernie 2 times, so about a total of $54. I had a family member that also donated to him, so yeah, I mean, it hasn't really been that much. And in 2016, I did not donate to Bernie. That was his first campaign. It was something not that I wasn't as big of a fan of Bernie back then, but it's just I just didn't. I'm very I consider myself, even though I'm giving opinions, I can consider myself a journalist. I'm a journalism major. I went to school, studied journalism, and I just felt it, a little bit weird to donate to a candidate. I'd rather be more objective and kind of be not, fair or in the middle or anything. But I mean, I just don't want to have a dog in the race or in the horse in the race, however you put it. But I don't want to have a horse in the race, and I didn't want to, be like that. I just want it to be, neutral in that sense. That doesn't mean I'm not going out there and advocating for Bernie every chance I get, whether I'm going on Twitter, social media, whatever, talking on here. It doesn't matter. It's clear that anybody that follows me on Twitter, anybody that watches these videos, it's clear that I'm a Bernie supporter. There's no doubt about that. But that doesn't mean I have to go and, give him all of my money. So, but yeah, so people that are just telling Bernie to fuck off, you people need to calm down a little bit, okay? Bernie, he didn't do what you liked. He didn't do what I liked. I didn't like the fact that he's endorsing Biden. I didn't like the fact that he endorsed Hillary either. But when it came to him endorsing her in 2016 and then endorsing Biden this time, that didn't mean I was going to cancel him and tell him to fuck off. That's just not what I do. And like I said before, this is exactly what the vote shamers, and the corporatists and neoliberals, pro-Democrat types are. That's exactly what they want. They want you to tell Bernie to fuck off, because then they've done their job. They've done their job for you to despise Bernie and for you to not want to have anything to do with him. Now, let me again reiterate, that does not mean Bernie is he's the only person that it can run this movement, and he's has to be put up on a pedestal, and that he's the only one, and he's be a bunch of us, as Bernie says, not me, us. And it's about us. It's not about one person. And Bernie knows that himself. So he doesn't want you to make him the head of the movement. He wants it to be about all of us. And that's what I like about Bernie. Again, do I like the fact that he endorsed Biden? No, but you can't always get what you want. What I care about ultimately is the policies that he is pushing for, the policies that he is advocating for, what he is passionate about is the progressive policies that I want. And on Twitter, I think I made a little bit on one of my videos before about how I didn't like that, Bernie was saying, oh, he's my friend, Biden's my, Joe's my friend, whatever. Yeah, but I mean, it's not like he's going out there and saying, yeah, Joe is totally right about how the healthcare system needs to be run by private insurers, and we need to, we can't have a Medicare for all because it's too expensive. Obviously, because Bernie Sanders was going out there and advocating for Medicare for all. He was advocating for, a single payer system. And that's clear. So I don't care whether he is friends with Joe Biden on a macro scale. He can be, he can be hugging and kissing Joe Biden for all I like. It doesn't matter to me. I just care about what policies he pushes for. And as long as Bernie Sanders and as long as anybody that I'm associated with does not stray away from pushing for the policies that I support, I will be happy to be associated with them. But if you're not advocating for the policies that I like, especially the main ones that I care about the most, I don't want to have anything to do with you. And Bernie and all the people that I associate with, they are on the same page with me when it comes to these specific policies. And if I were to give advice to those of you that are telling Bernie to fuck off, you should care about the policies. Don't care about who he endorses. And I don't care who he endorses, but I'm also not going to be listening to what he tells me. I'm not part of that so-called Bernie cult out there that people are, the idiot, neoliberals and corporates are saying, oh, the Bernie cult. In reality, it's hypocrisy, and they're basically talking to a mirror because they're the ones that are in a cult. They're in a Democrat cult. They're in a party cult. We're not in a party. We're supporting one person, but we're mainly supporting the policies. That's what it is. And we don't care about the parties. And I'm probably not even going to go back to the Democratic Party because after Bernie Sanders, I don't have any reason to be a Democrat anymore. Who am I going to vote for in the Democratic Party right now? It's not like I can go vote for AOC. I mean, even if I have disagreements with her, I would probably vote for her if I was living in New York. But I can't go vote for her. I could go support her and tell her, yeah, okay, I support you and I support this policy you push for, but I can't go vote for her. So what's the point of me being in the Democratic Party? I live in California right now, and there's no decent progressive that is in this that is in. Well, maybe they're in the state, but they're not in my district or in my area, or my county or whatever. So so I can't vote for that for anybody that is that is a progressive right now. I mean, our two senators are Dianne Feinstein and Kamala Harris. I have zero interest in voting for either one of them, as they're both corporatist tools. So, yeah, just take a breath, relax. Don't cancel Bernie. Don't tell him to tell him you don't want to have anything to do with him. You want to get a refund for him, that's fine. There was a lot of people that want to they did a refund regarding Elizabeth Warren. So after Elizabeth Warren dropped out, they said I'm sorry, not dropped out, but attacked Bernie and did all the, oh, he's a sexist, and we had a conversation where he told me, well, women can't win or whatever. And a lot of people said, I think even before that, they said, refund Warren, hashtag refund Warren. I get it. That's totally understandable. Elizabeth Warren is a totally different animal, and I've criticized her plenty. And but that's not the same thing as Bernie. She is not the same thing as Bernie at all, and people know that. So saying refund Bernie doesn't really make a lot of sense. And I think a lot of those people are just reacting very instinctually, and they're angry, and I understand they're angry. I am angry. I'm probably more on the depressed side, but I'm a little bit more, I'm not on that. Yeah, I'm not on that train of like wanting to, move on from Bernie as long as he's, still around. But again, focus on the policies, focus on, what policies Bernie is pushing for. Don't care about the endorsement. The endorsement's not going to mean anything if Biden loses or wins, because once Biden gets into office, it's not like it's not like, oh my God, Bernie Sanders is all of a sudden going to agree with Joe Biden because he becomes president. That's not the way it's going to work. Or if he doesn't become president, he's going to all of a sudden feel sorry for Biden and agree with everything that he's pushed for. I mean, that's just obviously that's not a thing. That's like Obviously, none of those things is gonna happen because it's ridiculous. But yeah, just make sure to you guys have to maintain a level head. Focus on the task at hand. Focus on the goal, the ultimate goal of pushing for the progressive policies that you believe in. Don't care about the random people that are heading the movement or are in the movement, what they say, who they endorse. Ultimately, that doesn't mean anything. And I think destroying anybody that is in the movement who is prominent and was able to get us to that mountaintop, or at least near the mountaintop, as MLK said, you know keep them in mind to some extent and still hold them accountable, still call them out. It's nothing wrong with calling out Bernie. There's nothing wrong with criticizing. Just don't tell him to fuck off and say you don't want to have anything to do with him, because that ultimately is not going to lead to anything good. So that's going to be the end of this episode of Feelin Proggy. I just wanted to say something really quick. I want to give two special shouts to. He is an excellent progressive and a great guy. I'm always following him on Twitter and stuff and retweeting him and everything. He unfortunately tested positive for coronavirus. And that's terrible, because this guy has been out there relentlessly reporting out on the field, going to all different states all over the fucking country, reporting, doing a great job. He's a very, very objective progressive, a very objective reporter, but he's a progressive. He supports Bernie, but he's a great reporter. He does great work. And he unfortunately came down with coronavirus, so hopefully he's going to be okay. Best wishes to him. Another person I want to give best wishes to is Kyle Kalinske. He said recently, I think it was today, he said that he is feeling a little bit sick. Great progressives that we definitely don't want to lose, God forbid. I don't believe in God, but knock on wood, we don't want to lose those guys. Let alone all the other people out there that that died from coronavirus or have it right now. So best wishes to all the victims, obviously, that have died, but those two specific people that I associate with and love to listen to and love to hear their opinions, I definitely hope that they're going to be okay. So that's going to be it. So thank you so much, guys, for listening, and this has been Feelin Proggy, and I'll see you again next time. Take care.